I don't get it, Ethan, Marcus said, leaning back in his chair, smirking like he knew better. Why keep chasing something that's clearly out of reach? Isabella wants comfort, not pipe dreams. I forced a smile, though my chest burned. Dreams aren't pipe dreams just because they scare other people. Scare? He laughed. No, man. They're just unrealistic. His words echoed the laughter from the office earlier. My co-workers always found it hilarious when I said I wanted to start my own company. CEO Ethan, they mocked, like it was the funniest joke they'd ever heard. I pushed the memory down. Unrealistic today doesn't mean impossible tomorrow. Tell that to Isabella, Marcus muttered. I turned sharply. What do you mean? He raised his hands. Relax. I just mean, she's not exactly bragging about dating the next big entrepreneur. She thinks you're wasting time. I swallowed hard. The truth always slipped easier from Marcus's mouth than from hers. Later that night, I confronted her. Isabella was curled on the couch in her satin robe, scrolling through her phone. Do you really think I'm wasting time? I asked quietly. She glanced up, unimpressed. Ethan, don't start again. I just want to know what you feel. What I feel, she said, sighing, is tired of you talking about some company that doesn't even exist. You quit a stable job. You borrowed money you can't return. For what? To live in fantasy? Her words sliced through me, but I pressed on. I'm building something real. One day you'll see. She laughed, soft at first, then louder. One day. Ethan, I need more than promises. Daniel doesn't waste my time with dreams. He shows results. The name struck me. Daniel? Since when are you comparing me to him? Her smile was sharp. Since he represents what you're not. Stability. Success. The life I deserve. I clenched my fists. So you'd rather I give up everything I believe in? Just to play it safe? Safe is better than stupid, she snapped. Silence stretched between us. I felt my pulse thudding in my ears, the weight of her disdain crushing my chest. You used to say you believed in me, I whispered. I used to believe you'd grow up. The air left my lungs. The next day, my parents visited. My father wasted no time. You're burning your future, Ethan. You quit your job for a woman who doesn't even respect you. Dad. No. His voice boomed through the small apartment. Do you know how much shame you bring to this family? Living off scraps, borrowing money. Enough, my mother cut in, her tone softer. He's trying, Robert. At least he's trying. Trying doesn't pay bills, my father muttered. I looked at my mother. Her eyes begged me not to break. I'll prove it, I said firmly. I'll prove I can make something of myself. My father scoffed. You sound like a child. I'd rather sound like a child chasing something than like a man who gave up, I shot back. The word surprised even me. That night, I found myself walking with Marcus again. He lit a cigarette, shaking his head. You're gonna lose her, you know. Maybe, I admitted. But I can't stop now. Why not? Because if I stop, then everyone's right. Isabella. My dad. You. I can't live with that. He exhaled smoke, smirking. Or maybe you can't live without her. His words hit deeper than I wanted to admit. Days turned into weeks, and the cracks widened. Isabella grew colder. Marcus grew distant. Daniel appeared more often in conversations, his wealth, his charm, his certainty. I pretended not to notice, but I felt the ground shifting under me. One evening, as I prepared dinner for us, Isabella stood by the window, arms crossed. Ethan, she said flatly, why don't you just admit it? You're not cut out for this. I set the pan down slowly. Cut out for what? For success. For the life I want. I stared at her, words stuck in my throat. You're too soft, she continued. Too idealistic. Men like Daniel, they win because they know what matters. Money. Power. Security. Not dreams. And love? I asked, my voice breaking. She looked at me like I was a fool. Love doesn't pay for mansions. I felt the world tilt. That night, when she turned away from me in bed, I whispered into the darkness, one day, you'll see. One day, you'll know what I was worth. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed myself anymore. The ballroom glittered with gold and glass, laughter echoing off marble walls. I didn't belong here, not in my worn suit that clung too tightly, but I had come because Isabella asked me to. At least, that's what I believed. I moved through the crowd, searching for her. My heart pounded with both pride and unease. Tonight was supposed to be my chance to show her I wasn't the fool everyone thought. Then I heard it, her laugh. Sharp, cutting, familiar. I followed the sound and froze. Isabella stood close to Marcus, her hand resting on his arm, her lips curled in a cruel smile. They were surrounded by a circle of amused faces, and at the center of their mockery, me. Can you imagine? Isabella's voice rang loud enough to draw chuckles. He really believes his little startup will make him a millionaire. A dreamer too poor for love. Marcus smirked, raising his glass. Some men chase money, some chase power. Ethan chases illusions. The crowd laughed, and my world cracked. I stepped forward. That's enough. Every head turned. Isabella's eyes locked on mine, unflinching. Oh, she said sweetly, the dreamer himself. My throat tightened. Why, Isabella? Why say that? Because it's true. She tilted her head, her eyes cold. You'll never be more than a nobody. Each word landed like a hammer. Marcus, I whispered, you too. He lifted his glass higher, smirking. Sorry, brother, but some of us grew up. You're still chasing fairy tales. The room seemed to spin. My hands shook, not from fear, but from the raw betrayal burning in my veins. I gave up everything for you, I said to Isabella, my voice breaking despite my fight to hold it steady. She laughed, cruel and final. And that's exactly why I don't want you. Who wants a man who can't even stand on his own? The crowd gasped. Whispers spread like fire, their eyes bouncing between us like spectators at an execution. Marcus leaned closer, his smirk unshaken. You should thank us, Ethan. Better you learn now than keep embarrassing yourself. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped me out from the inside. I forced my lips to move. All this time, you were together. Isabella's silence was louder than any confession. Marcus's smirk was answer enough. I loved you, I whispered. She didn't flinch. That's your mistake, not mine. The music faltered. A hush fell over the room. I could feel every stare burning into me, waiting for me to crumble. But I didn't. I straightened, though my inside screamed. Enjoy your victory, I said quietly. You've killed the dreamer you hated so much. For the first time, Marcus's smirk flickered. Isabella only folded her arms, unimpressed. I turned and walked away. Each step felt like dragging chains. Laughter and whispers trailed me out of the ballroom, echoing in my skull. My vision blurred, but I didn't let them see me fall. Not here. Outside, the night air hit me like ice. I leaned against the stone pillar, my fists trembling. You'll never be more than a nobody. Her voice replayed in my head, cruel and sharp, over and over until it carved itself into my bones. I wanted to scream, to smash something, to cry, but I did none of it. Instead, I let the numbness swallow me whole. Marcus's smirk. Isabella's eyes. The laughter of strangers. Every sound, every word fused into one truth: I had lost everything. But as the night dragged on, a spark burned beneath the wreckage. Never again, I told myself. Never again would I beg for her love. Never again would I kneel for anyone's approval. They thought they destroyed me. No, they had built the fire I would rise from. That night, under the cold stars, I swore the last tear I shed for Isabella would also be the first step toward the man I was meant to become. The days after that night blurred together, each one darker than the last. My boss called me into his office with a frown. "Ethan, we can't keep you on. Your performance, your focus, it's gone." "I just need time," I whispered. He shook his head. "We can't afford passengers." I walked out with a box of papers and a weight of finality crushing me. When I returned to my apartment, the landlord was waiting. "You're 3 months behind. Keys. Now." I stared at him, hollow. "I'll pay." "You said that last month. Get out." I handed over the keys with numb fingers. My life was peeling away, layer by layer. At home, the arguments began. My father's voice was sharp as knives. "He's hopeless," he spat. "All this nonsense about chasing dreams, and now look where it's gotten him." My mother tried to soften him. "He's our son. He needs time. Time. He's wasting it. No direction, no future." I sat there, silent, until Lena stepped forward. Her eyes, fierce and protective, locked on our father. "Stop," she snapped. "He's not worthless." I whispered, "Lena." She turned to me. "Don't you dare believe them. You hear me? Don't you dare." Her words clung to me that night as I sat before the mirror, staring at a stranger. "What are you now?" I asked my reflection. A fool who believed too much. Or just nothing at all. My chest ached with the urge to give up. To close my eyes and not wake again. But Lena's voice replayed, "You're not worthless." Days later, while wandering the park in a fog, I heard a calm voice behind me. "You look like a man who's carrying stones in his chest." I turned to see an older man on the bench, dressed simply but with an air of quiet strength. "I'm fine," I muttered. "No, you're not," he said with a faint smile. "Sit." I don't know why I did, but I sat. He studied me. "What's your name?" "Ethan." "Mr. Hale," he said, extending a steady hand. "You look like a man who once had dreams." I laughed bitterly. Had. Past tense. "Dreams don't vanish," he said. "They just get buried under fear." I stared at the ground. I tried. I fought. I gave up everything. And it destroyed me. "Then you're alive," he replied. "Failure is proof of life. You know what kills a man?" "What?" "Stopping. Dreams don't matter if you stop moving." His words landed heavy, pressing against the cracks in my chest. "I don't even know where to begin," I admitted. He smiled. "Begin anywhere. Just don't stand still. The graveyards are full of men who waited too long to move again." Silence hung between us, but for the first time in months, I felt something stir. Not hope, not yet, but a flicker. A fragile, trembling flicker. When I rose to leave, Mr. Hale's words followed me like a lifeline. "Dreams don't matter if you stop moving." That night, staring into the mirror again, I whispered, "Maybe I'm not finished. Not yet." And for the first time, my reflection didn't look entirely broken. Mr. Hale leaned across the table, his eyes sharp. "So. Will you do it, Ethan?" I stared at the empty notebook in front of me. A business? With what money? With what strength? With what's left of you, he said calmly. That's enough. I let out a bitter laugh. Enough? I've already failed at everything. No, he corrected. You only failed at stopping. That's different. His words hit like a stone in still water. Where would I even begin? I asked. Start small. Something you understand. Something people need. I don't have capital. I don't even have a place to live. Then you fight harder. Scrape, claw, borrow if you must. You've lost everything, boy. That makes you dangerous. His certainty scared me, but it also stirred something I thought was gone. The first weeks were brutal. I borrowed what little I could and rented a dusty corner shop. My first order of supplies arrived, half of it was junk. I stormed into the warehouse. You cheated me, I said to the manager. He smirked. Take it or leave it. You'll hear from me, I snapped. Sure, he chuckled. If you're still in business next month. I walked out shaking with rage, but I refused to crumble. When I told Mr. Hale, he only said, good. Let them underestimate you. Use it. At night, I sat in the shop, head in my hands. The numbers didn't add up. The rent was already late. That's when Sophia appeared, carrying a small box. You forgot to eat, she said, setting bread and tea on the counter. I'm not hungry, I muttered. You're lying. I looked at her, exhausted. Why are you helping me? Because my father believes in you, she said softly. And maybe, so do I. Her words caught me off guard. You shouldn't, I said. Too late. She gave a small smile. Now eat. The ridicule came daily. Rivals walked past my shop and laughed. Look at the dreamer, one shouted. Building castles out of dust. Another sneered, don't worry, he'll be gone in a month. I clenched my fists but forced myself to stay silent. Rage wouldn't pay the bills. At night, Sophia sat with me as I worked on plans. You're pushing yourself too hard, she said. I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You can quit. I slammed my pen down. Never again. Her eyes widened at the force in my voice, but she nodded. The days blurred into nights. I fell asleep on the shop floor with blueprints scattered around me. I woke with my body aching but my mind burning. One night, Sophia shook me awake. Ethan, it's 3 a.m. I know. You need rest. I need results. She studied me for a long moment. Then let me help. And she did. She balanced accounts, called suppliers, even cleaned shelves when I was too tired to stand. I didn't know what to say. So I didn't. The breakthrough came suddenly. A client I had been chasing for weeks finally called. Mr. Cole, he said on the phone. I've seen your proposal. Meet me tomorrow. My heart slammed against my ribs. Tomorrow? Yes. Yes, I'll be there. The night before the meeting, I couldn't stop pacing. What if I mess this up? I muttered. Sophia touched my arm. You won't. You don't know that. I know you, she said simply. Her faith shook me more than my fear. The next day, I walked into the office with my documents trembling in my hands. The client looked me over. You don't have much of a track record, he said. No, I admitted. But I have more to lose than anyone else. And that makes me work harder than anyone else. He studied me, silent. Then he nodded slowly. You'll have your chance. Don't waste it. When I walked out, I felt the weight of the world lift an inch off my shoulders. I called Sophia. He signed. Her laughter rang through the phone. You did it. No, I whispered. We did. That night, I sat alone in the shop. My hands trembled as I placed the signed papers on the counter. For the first time in years, my chest wasn't filled with ashes, it was fire. I looked at my reflection in the shop window and whispered, "They'll see. One day, they'll see." And this time, I believed it. I stood before the tall glass windows of my office, the city spread beneath me like a kingdom. The gold letters on the door still felt unreal, Ethan Cole, CEO. I whispered to myself, so this is what it feels like. The knock came sooner than expected. My assistant poked his head in. "Sir, there's a man here, says he knows you." Marcus. The name hit me like a stone in the chest. "Send him in," I said, voice steady. Marcus walked in, thinner, his expensive swagger gone. He avoided my eyes at first, then forced a grin. "Ethan. Long time." "Years," I replied coldly. "What do you want?" He shifted uneasily. "Work. Anything." I know I don't deserve to ask, but life hasn't been kind. I studied him in silence. "You laughed at me once," I said slowly. "Called me a dreamer too poor for love." His face twisted with regret. "I was a fool. You proved me wrong. Please, just a chance." "Why here?" I asked. "Of all places." "Because you won, Ethan. And I lost." His voice cracked. I leaned back in my chair. "Funny. You once thought I'd never sit here." "I know," he whispered. "And I regret it every day." For a long moment, I said nothing. Then I pressed the intercom. "Show him out." His eyes widened. "Ethan, please. I built this empire without you. I don't need ghosts haunting my halls." Security escorted him out. I turned back to the window, my chest tight with old wounds reopening. The second ghost appeared weeks later, at a gala. The lights were blinding, the crowd buzzing. Cameras flashed as I stepped onto the stage to greet investors. That's when I saw her. Isabella. She was radiant in a shimmering gown, her hand looped through Daniel's arm. But her eyes, once full of scorn, looked hollow. Her lips parted as her gaze locked on me. "Ethan." I forced a polite smile. "Good evening, Isabella." "Daniel." Daniel smirked. "Well, look who it is." The dreamer made it big. I tilted my head. "Surprised?" "Very," Isabella murmured. "Why?" I asked. "You told me I'd never be more than a nobody." Her face paled. "I was wrong." Daniel scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. People change." "No," I said calmly. "Dreams don't. Only the people too blind to see them." The silence around us was thick. I could feel the crowd listening. Daniel tried to laugh. "Success must have made you bitter." "No," I replied. "Failure made me strong. Success only proved you wrong." Isabella's eyes shone with something I couldn't name, regret, maybe sorrow. "Ethan. I didn't know you'd." "Of course you didn't," I cut her off. "You never cared to look beyond the surface." Her voice shook. "I was young. I wanted more." "And now?" I asked. Her hand tightened on Daniel's arm. "Now I wonder what I threw away." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Enough. He's not worth your words." I leaned closer, my voice low. "No, Daniel. I'm worth every word she never said." Isabella's breath caught. She turned her face away, but I saw the tears she tried to hide. Later that night, I stepped outside for air. The city lights blurred, memories clawing at me. The boy who once begged for their love still lived inside me. Sophia's voice cut through the haze. "Ethan." I turned. She had been at the gala too, watching from a distance. You saw, I said quietly. She nodded. And I saw how you held yourself. You didn't need to scream or fight. You already won. Then why does it still hurt? I asked. Because scars don't vanish, she said gently. They remind you where you've been. I looked at her, the steadiness in her gaze. Do you think I'll ever stop feeling it? Yes, she said. When you stop letting their ghosts matter. Her words settled deep inside me. Back in my office the next morning, I stared again at the skyline. Marcus, Isabella, Daniel, they had once been my entire world. Now they were shadows. Yet the pain lingered. I whispered to myself, I've climbed out of ashes. But why do I still feel the fire? The room gave no answer, only silence. The knock on my office door came early, hesitant. Come in, I said, not looking up from the papers on my desk. When the door creaked open, I heard a voice I hadn't expected to hear again. Ethan, it's me. Marcus. I looked up. He stood there, shoulders slumped, suit wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. What do you want? I asked flatly. I need work, he whispered. Anything. I'll sweep the floors if I have to. I leaned back. You mocked me once for chasing dreams too big. You told Isabella I'd never be worth her time. His voice cracked. I know. And I've paid for it. Everything's gone, Ethan. My job, my house, my pride. Life, his throat tightened. Life punished me. And now you expect me to save you? I expect nothing, he said quickly. I'm begging. You don't know how it feels to have doors slammed in your face, to watch your family walk away. Oh, I know, I cut him off. You slammed one of those doors yourself. He flinched. I was wrong. I see it now. Please, Ethan, help me. For a moment, silence stretched. His desperation filled the room, heavy, suffocating. Finally, I said, I don't owe you anything. His lips trembled. Not even pity. Pity. I stood. I buried my pity years ago. Along with the man you betrayed. He lowered his head. Then I'll go. Do that, I said coldly. When he left, I felt no triumph. Only emptiness. That evening, as I left the building, another ghost appeared. Isabella. She stepped from the shadows near my car, wrapped in a silk shawl. Her eyes searched mine. Ethan, wait. I froze. Why are you here? I needed to see you, she said softly. I needed to say I was wrong. My chest tightened. Wrong about what? About everything. Her voice shook. Leaving you, mocking you. Choosing Daniel. I thought I wanted security, status, power. But none of it fills the void. I laughed bitterly. Now you realize. I see you, Ethan, she whispered. Strong, unshaken, untouchable. And I regret walking away. Regret doesn't erase scars, I said. Her eyes glistened. Do you still hate me? I don't waste energy on hate, I replied. Not anymore. I could have stood beside you, she murmured. I could have been part of your world. You could have, I said, my voice like ice. But you chose another. She reached for my arm. Ethan. I'm sorry. I pulled back. Your sorry comes too late. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Do you feel nothing? I feel twisted satisfaction, I admitted. But beneath it, nothing. Just emptiness. She covered her face with her hands. I lost you forever. You never had me, I said quietly. Not really. She turned and walked into the night, her sobs echoing behind her. Later, At home, Sophia noticed my silence. She set down 2 cups of tea and studied me. "You saw them again," she said gently. I nodded. Marcus begged for a job. Isabella begged for forgiveness. "And how do you feel?" I stared into the steam rising from my cup. I thought I'd feel victorious. Instead, I feel empty. Sophia leaned closer. "Because revenge doesn't heal. It only reopens wounds." "I didn't even seek revenge," I said. I stood silent, and it hurt them more than shouting ever could. She touched my hand lightly. "Exactly. You don't need to waste energy proving yourself to them. Your success already speaks." I let her words settle. My silence had crushed them more than anger ever could. "I don't need to scream," I murmured. "My success already did." Sophia smiled faintly. "Then stop looking back. Ghosts only follow if you keep turning around." I nodded, finally understanding. Their downfall wasn't my victory. It was their karma. And I didn't need to lift a finger. The chandeliers glittered above me as the gala roared on. Crystal glasses clinked, laughter filled the hall, and music floated through the air. My reflection stared back from the polished marble floors, reminding me how far I had come. This mansion, Isabella's family mansion, was mine now. They didn't even know. Acquisitions, silent takeovers, names shifted on deeds. I had buried my past inside its walls and raised my empire above it. Tonight, I stood here as the host. "Mr. Cross," a guest greeted, bowing slightly. "Your vision amazes us all." I nodded with a polite smile. My eyes scanned the crowd. Power surrounded me, dressed in silk and gold. Yet I felt strangely detached, as if none of it could touch me. Then, a voice sliced through the music. Slurred. Broken. "Ethan." The room stilled. Heads turned. She stumbled through the doors, hair tangled, eyes swollen red. "Isabella." I looked around the hall, faces painted with shock, awe, curiosity. Not one dared approach her. Inside me, there was no triumph. Only a quiet emptiness, the echo of years of pain. I turned to my assistant. "Escort her out." "Yes, sir." As they lifted her, she screamed my name again. "Ethan. Please. Don't leave me with nothing." I didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Her cries trailed off as the doors closed behind her. The music remained frozen, the crowd waiting for me to continue. I raised my glass. "To silence," I said softly. The crowd obeyed, lifting their glasses in uneasy unison. But inside, I whispered only to myself, "This mansion isn't hers anymore. It isn't mine either. It's a tomb for the love I buried long ago." And with that, the music resumed. The gala went on. But nothing could erase the image of Isabella, broken and weeping on the floor of the home I now owned. The night air pressed against me as I stood on the balcony, the city glittering like a sea of false stars. The mansion loomed behind me, mine now, though it never truly felt like home. Sophia stepped beside me, her voice quiet. "You don't look happy." "I'm not," I admitted. "I thought I would be. I thought watching them fall would fix something inside me." She folded her arms, studying me. "And did it?" "No," I let out a hollow laugh. Isabella collapsed at my feet, Marcus begged for scraps, Daniel stormed away in rage. I won. But it feels empty. Like I built an empire just to stand in ruins. Sophia's eyes softened. "Because you didn't build it for yourself. You built it for them, to prove them wrong." Her words cut deeper than any insult ever had. I turned to her. "Then what was the point of all this?" "The point," she said gently, "is that you survived. That you rose when they wanted you buried. But survival isn't about proving anything. It's about living. I stared at her, unsure if I wanted to believe it. Living for myself. I don't even know what that means anymore. It means, she whispered, that you stop carrying ghosts. The silence stretched between us. I looked out at the city lights again. I thought revenge would taste sweet. I thought silence would feel powerful. But it only echoes. Sophia touched my arm, grounding me. Then stop looking backward. They don't own your story anymore. You do. I closed my eyes. Isabella's face flashed before me, drenched in tears. Marcus's voice, once smug, now desperate. My parents' warnings. My own reflection from years ago, broken, hollow, ready to give up. I wasted so much time, I whispered. No, Sophia said firmly. You lived. You bled, you broke, you rose. That's not wasted, it's proof you're still here. I breathed in slowly. Her words sank deeper than the applause of 100 guests, deeper than the whispers of awe when they saw me at the gala. Do you think they'll ever change? I asked. She shook her head. Maybe. Maybe not. But it doesn't matter. Their downfall isn't your closure. I let her words linger. The truth stung, but it was freeing. I don't need them anymore, I said finally. Sophia smiled faintly. Good. Because you never did. We stood there in silence, the night breeze wrapping around us like a quiet promise. For years, my life had been a war against shadows. I had clawed my way out of ruin, fed on bitterness, carried betrayal like armor. But as I stood on that balcony, I realized none of it defined me anymore. Not Isabella's scorn. Not Marcus's betrayal. Not Daniel's sneer. I defined me. Ethan. Sophia's voice was soft. Yes. You're free now. I let the words settle, and for the first time, I believed them. I placed my hands on the railing, feeling the cold metal steady me. My empire, my success, my silence, it wasn't about them anymore. It was about me finally choosing peace. The city stretched endlessly before me. The ghosts had no power here. I breathed, slow and deep. For the first time in years, it didn't hurt. The cost of silence had been high, but peace was priceless. And in that moment, I walked away, not from a mansion, not from memories, but from the shadows that once held me captive. I was mine again.